Man, it's cold. It is cold. Cold. I'm your host, BKP, and you're watching BKP Politics on voiceofruralamerica.com. Voiceofruralamerica.com. That is a great video you sent me, Diane. I don't have time to incorporate it, but it actually goes right down the line that the Democrats wanted to. AI will have total control. We have to, in the interview with Fox News with Sam Altman, there's a lot of discussion. Most of them will tell you we have. I hate the word guardrails. I hate when they talk about guardrails. They wanted guardrails around Trump. But AI, your state legislature should be discussing AI now and how you're going to handle it in your state and what rights you have. This is going to move so rapidly. I'm your host, BKP. Now let's go over a couple things the media is going to do in the next couple days. In fact, just give me video one. Doug Collins. I was sent this. I told him I was going to play it a couple times today. Doug Collins, video one.
Our nation was built by those who served, who kept our country safe, by those who sacrificed everything. They deserve a government that has their back. They deserve Doug Collins as Secretary of Veterans Affairs. Doug Collins and the Trump administration will treat our nation's veterans exactly as they should be, as heroes. Call your senator today and tell them you support Doug Collins as Secretary of Veterans Affairs.
All right, so call your senator today. We need to get Trump's appointees confirmed. The only one is Marco Rubio. The rest are in limbo right now. So number 5, we're going to go 5, 6, and 7, Diane. Number 5 right here. They are going nuts because DHS now allowing immigration raids in schools and churches. And this is the statement that they're give me. Number 6, Homeland Security. Criminals will no longer be able to hide in America's schools and churches to avoid arrest. The Trump administration will not tie the hands of ICE. So this is the statement. We're looking for the criminals, but here's what they're going to do with it. Number 7, they want you to believe that your child's classroom and your church sanctuary will soon have ICE going in here. This is what they're putting up this morning. I think I have another one. Number 29, the border, Trump's border orders. And this country, the border is closed. Number 33, one of many across the nation fearing Trump's threat of mass deportation in companies, produce, so forth. And Anderson Cooper, this half a sissy. Number 35, ICE can raid churches and schools. Number 36 and number 37. Now, they're going to highlight all these ripping children away from their parents. Let me say this, okay? If your parents and you have small children, if they get pulled over and there's warrants for their arrest, they remove the children and you go to jail, right? If you have small children in the car and you get pulled over and you're committing a crime or DUI or something, they remove the children. They remove the children from you. All right. They don't rip them from you. They remove them. In America today, if people call and report you as a neighbor and, defects, as we call it, and they want a wellness check on the children, The government could come into your house right now, knock on the door, and if they're not satisfied, they can remove your children from your home. They can make that determination, and if they're dressed properly, their hygiene, whatever it may be. Schools can notify. Little kid goes to school with a bruise, whatever. Schools can notify the authorities, have you investigated, and by the end of the day, the children are removed from your home. The courts across this country are removing children from their homes at rapid rates. So I have to tell you, if you go into a house today and dad has a warrant for his arrest and mom and 3 kids are there and they don't know how mom is going to support the 3 kids, they're little kids, can't afford childcare, can't afford groceries, can't afford the rent, they will not say, well, since that's the situation, we won't arrest your husband today and take him down to the county jail. Bottom line. So if mom's in the house, the little kids are in the house, and there's an illegal in the house, and they knock on the door, you broke the law, they will arrest you. They're not ripping you away. They're not tearing apart families. Democrats have no problem whatsoever of tearing apart families, killing unborn children, and destroying the nuclear family or the traditional marriage. They have no problem with destroying that on a daily basis. But they want you to believe we're going to come in and get these kids and we're going to go to your churches and whatever it may be. But I have to tell you, when they have a warrant or they have reason, they can arrest you. Now, that being said, the J6, and I said this yesterday, and I want to make this very clear. Let's go with the J6 pardons, video 3.
The president defends his blanket pardons of January 6 rioters, even the violent ones he once suggested would not go free. Let's keep them honest. Also tonight, with the president's new immigration policy starting to take effect, the impact at the border and what mass deportations might entail. And later, after the high wind.
All right, so they have just lost it over these J6 pardons. They are losing it. Do you back the blue? They're going through the halls of Congress, and they're getting the statement from Mitch McConnell, 23. No one should excuse violence, and particularly violence against the president's against police officers, unless you can steal an election. Do you understand? You can break into this country. You can steal an election. We were waiting for Lisa Murkowski. I'm disappointed, number 24, to see that. I do fear the message that is sent to these brave men and women who stood for us. Number 25, Susan Collins. People who committed violent crimes on January 6th should not be pardoned. What about the people that stole an election? Just can't get over that. Number 26. Listen, he said he was going to do this during the campaign, and he did exactly what he said he was going to do, Josh Hawley said. So, January 6th. Now, yesterday at the press conference, Trump has taken more questions. Trump has taken more questions in 2 days than Biden took in a year. And reporters are talking about it. He took more questions than Biden took in a year. Now, yesterday, what I played for you earlier with AI, what's going on with Sam Altman, what's going on with Stargate, what they announced, All they wanted to talk about was January 6th and pardoning the hostages that were, releasing them. Here's what Trump's comment was. I don't know how long it is. We might stay with it, Diane. Let's go ahead with video 15.
Okay, well, we'll take a look at everything, but I can say this. Murderers today are not even charged. You have murderers that aren't charged all over. You take a look at what's gone on in Philadelphia, take a look at what's gone on in L.A., where people murder people and they don't get charged. These people have already served years in prison, and they've served them viciously. It's a disgusting prison. It's been horrible. It's inhumane. It's been a terrible, terrible thing. I also say this. You go to Portland, where they wrapped police officers, shot police officers. Nothing happened to anybody. You go to Seattle, where they took over a big chunk of the city and people died. Portland, a lot of people died. Wait a minute. And you go also, take a look at Minneapolis, because I was there and I watched it. And if I didn't bring in the National Guard, that city wouldn't even exist today. People were killed and nobody went to jail. So these people have already served a long period of time, and I made a decision to give a pardon. Joe Biden gave a pardon yesterday to a lot of criminals. These are criminals that he gave a pardon to. And you should be asking that question. Why did he give a pardon to all of these people that committed crimes? Why did he give a pardon to the J6 Unselect Committee when they burned and destroyed all documents which showed that they did what was wrong, not me? Wait a minute. Why did they give a pardon to all of his relatives, his brother who made millions of dollars, to all these different people? He gave pardons. That's the question you should be answering. All right, go.
All right. He's correct. As usual, Trump is correct. Okay. So let's go with 41 first. Remember, right here, 41. This is the Select Committee. And this is the January 6th Select Committee. And remember who got pardoned. You hear Liz Chaney because that's the one. But here is who got pardoned by Joe Biden. Benny Thompson from Mississippi. Zoe Laughlin of California. Adam Schiff. Adam Schiff got a pardon. Now, Adam Schiff was on TV just weeks before saying he didn't want it. He did not want it. And did not talk to the White House about it. Adam Schiff got pardoned. Pete Aguilar got pardoned. Stephanie Murphy got pardoned. Jamie Raskin. These are people that should be in prison, got pardoned. Elaine Lara, and then over on the Republican side, Liz Chaney and the super crier, Adam Kinzinger. So remember, Joe Biden pardoned these people. Those people that are getting out of prison have been serving up to 3 years. I mean, they've been in jail serving up to 3 years. And no matter what they say about the violence, they killed no one. They murdered no one. Ashley Babbitt was murdered. So, Diane, let me see if I have this one here. I thought I had one. Yeah. And then number 49. It's like Trump said. This is the pardon. They won't talk about that on the media, right? The family over country. Francis Biden, James Biden, Hunter Biden, Valerie Biden. He pardoned the whole family, the whole crime family. You don't talk about those crimes. You don't talk about the police that were beaten in these cities. Rocks thrown at, bricks thrown at, thrown, bricks thrown at, throwed. Well, whatever. You know what I mean? They don't talk about that. So I told you yesterday, and I'm gonna wrap up with this on the J6. Here is the real reason. All right, they're on there this morning, and this is what they have. Diane, give me number 38. Trump pardons J6 cop beaters. The Wall Street Journal. J6 cop beaters. Here is the real reason. I told you yesterday, Trump pulled the pardon off. He's cleaning the DOJ out. This is not just emptying the prison. This is emptying the DOJ. Listen to the truth come out. I played it for you yesterday. Here's a new one, video 24.
Line prosecutor who worked on the January 6 cases. What was his reaction to these pardons?
He was appalled, Mika. Good morning. His name is Jason Manning, and he's one of many career prosecutors who devoted years to prosecuting, investigating, prosecuting these January 6th attackers. This was the biggest criminal investigation in the history of the Justice Department. Nearly every FBI field office and every U.S. Attorney's office was involved, even though it took place mostly in the D.C. U.S. Attorney's office in Washington, D.C. And this prosecutor really reflected on what this set of pardons meant to the victims that he knows very well in many cases, the police officers who were assaulted. Take a listen.
Everyone who's trying to judge these pardons, think how they think about them, needs to put themselves in the shoes of the Capitol Police officers, the Metropolitan Police officers who were victims that day. Think about what it was like for those people. Officers like Officer Michael Fanone, who was dragged into a mob and tased in the neck. Or Officer Dan Hodges, who was squeezed between a door and had to scream for his life. Or Officer Brian Sicknick, who was assaulted with pepper spray, lost his life of a heart attack. Have to think about what it means for those officers and their loved ones to receive this message that those assaults don't matter, that attacking police officers like that is okay. So for me, that's what I'm thinking about when those pardons are issued. I don't think that's okay, and so I find the pardons appalling.
That was a fantastic interview by our colleague Ryan Riley, who, as you know, wrote a book about January 6th. I spent the day yesterday talking.
Biggest, largest criminal investigation in American history, using every field office. Now, I will say this, Donald Trump cleared the prison, but we know who in every field office, every Department of Justice field office, every FBI field office in America, we know who needs to go. They are identified. We're cleaning house. The largest investigation. Now, when and if Pam Bondi, and I think she will be confirmed, the first thing she needs to do is review every FBI, Kash Patel field office, every DOJ field office. You realize what they just said is they admitted the largest criminal investigation nationwide, meaning they had every office engaged looking for you. Everyone. Every single office in America, Department of Justice and FBI, had agents or attorneys involved, engaged, looking for you in small town USA. Absolutely. Identifying you. Let me say this. You need to thank God. And I say this, people attack me for, you don't tie religion and politics. You need to thank God in America today that Donald J. Trump got elected president of the United States, because what they're admitting to you, all they were waiting on is for Kamala Harris to get sworn in, and the next, whoever was going to be her DOJ AG, whether it be Merrick Garland, then they would have had the gloves off, and every field office in the United States and every FBI agent that's worked on it, they would ratchet up coming after you. This was the largest one in history. They said it. Trump cleaned house. Thank you, Donald J. Trump, my president. Thank you for this, stopping this madness against the American people. Instead of investigating terrorism, instead of prosecuting organized crime, investigating anything and everything in this country, they were going after you, the American people. Two things before we close. I'm not going to be able to get into some of it. Let me remind you, Trump is going to North Carolina, video 13.
We're going to take care of Los Angeles. I'm going there. I'm going to North Carolina, which has been abandoned by the Democrats. And I'm going to North Carolina, very importantly, first. I'll be there on Friday. And then I'm going from there to Los Angeles. And then I'm going to Nevada.
Friday. Now, one more thing they don't want to talk about because it's true. They do not like to talk about the truth when it comes to President Trump. Video 17.
They have a valve, and it turns like, think of a sink, but multiply it times many thousands of times the size of it. It's massive. And you turn it back toward Los Angeles. Why aren't they doing it? They either have a death wish, they're stupid, or there's something else going on that we don't understand.
They don't want to talk about it. So look at Trump's face. This is worth, I got to get out. We got to start the Georgia hour. We're running behind. Look at Trump's face. Look at Trump's face on this video 7 as this lesbian whack job preaches to Trump.
And transgender children in Democratic, Republican, and independent families. Some who fear for their lives. And the people who pick our crops and clean our office buildings, who labor in poultry farms and meat packing plants, who wash the dishes after we eat in restaurants and work the night shifts in hospitals, they may not be citizens or have the proper documentation. But the vast majority of immigrants are not criminals.
What did you think of the service?
What did you think? Did you like it? Did you find it exciting? Not too exciting, was it? I didn't think it was a good service, no. Thank you very much.
Thank you, press. Thank you, press.
They can do much better.
I'm looking at Trump's face, and Trump's like, oh, God, these people. I really think in the back row, Tiffany is like, oh, Lord. Oh, Lord. Tiffany Trump's like, wow. I could tell what's about to happen. This is it is absolutely 55. Pete Hegseth. Now, NBC is running this because what's his name? Reed, the ranking member of the committee, Reed from Rhode Island, despicable. Senators have received affidavit containing new allegations against Pete Hegseth, who denies the claim. The former sister-in-law, ex-sister-in-law, Pete Hegseth's brother's ex-wife, all right, said in an affidavit that Hegseth made his second wife, Pete Hegseth's second wife, fear for her safety. Now, they actually run this. There was a day when a newsroom would get this, and they would get this right here, number 14. They ran it this morning. Let's go ahead, Diane. Give me 15. Let's go. I don't want that one right now. That's my fault. I think I'll go to 14 last. Here it is. Senators, number 15. Senators receive affidavit containing new allegations against Pete Hegseth, who denies the claim. Now, look at the Chiron, the corruption. These people should go to prison. These are not journalists, okay? And here you go. Number 16, Reed, the ranking member, a little weasel from Rhode Island, Democrat on the Senate Armed Services Committee, asked Danielle Hegseth to detail what she knew of instances of abuse or threats of abuse pertaining to against any other people and mistreated his spouse. All right. Number 17, senators receive affidavit containing new allegations. So apparently, supposedly, right? Supposedly, Pete Hegseth's brother, ex-wife, said that Pete was abusive to Pete's second wife. You can't make this up. There was a day when there was enough credibility. Now, number 14, they run the story, but they put this up. This is Samantha Hegseth. This is Pete Hegseth's second wife. Gets a little confusing. I do not believe your information to be accurate, and I have CC'd my lawyer. There was no physical abuse in my marriage. This is the only further statement I will make to you. I have let you know that I am not speaking and will not speak on my marriage to Pete. So Pete's brother's ex-wife, that probably hates the whole damn family, made this up, and they're running with it. A senator is running with it. We will be right back with the Georgia Hour. And man, do we have a lot to cover. Take a break, Diane.